Hello and welcome to a new episode of the devlog of Runes of Aereal. And today is kind of a shortish video, but with real lots of things that were done, really. But in major part, the things that were done were bug fixes. And that's because we've come to a really important step here in the construction of the game, where we can link together a lot of parts that were really pretty separate up until now, but they all come together in playing the game right now. So where we are right now in the journey towards the first alpha version is that we can start playing the game step by step and gaining experience, collecting loot, collecting coins, and equipping new artifacts, equipping new cards, and gathering stuff all together. So that's where we are right now. So in summary, what we have already got here from the main menu, of course the options are working. They've been working for quite some time. The statistics are working, though there were some, let's say, bug fixes to be done in order to get this. We haven't got achievements yet or collectibles. In one of the prior videos you saw how we added collectibles here to the meta progression, but we haven't created a screen yet where you can see the collectibles that the user has collected. However, the library, where you can see all of the cards that are available in the game, is finished here. And also in the library you can get an overview of the different artifacts that are currently in the game. So this is fully integrated, and if we then go to the journey, and let's abandon the current journey, we can start a new journey where it's already possible, of course, to create a new character. And let's just choose easy mode, and then we can switch between the different characters, of course. And we can start the journey with that specific character. And so then we come to the first island, and of course there's only one island in here only. This Astellan Island. So in earlier episodes of the devlog you saw that I revamped the entire interface here, and now it's also possible to do managing the cards right here. So we haven't gathered new cards yet, so it's not really something we can manage. The same counts for the artifacts here, the inventory, the options, and so let's try a game. Let's go in here, and then of course right now it's only possible to do upgrades or move on because I adjusted the probability tables. So what I'm going to do together with you is here adjust some probability tables, and in the probability tables I have the custom to set something to 9999 if I want to force that. So let's force the battle choice right now. So in order to do that, we have to run the game. And right now, when we start the game, the map points, the different map points, are generated whenever we first start an island. But as we started the island just a few minutes ago, this island is now full with the choice to upgrade. So I'm just going to abandon this and choose a new game with a new character. And now at this time, when the island is generated for the first time, right at this moment, all of the items here are determined at this point. So that means that all of the items, all of the map points, if I click here, you'll see that I have now the choice between continuing and starting a combat. So this is one of the things that were changed. And I can just click here, and then we go towards the combat. There were quite some bugs in there to get this combat working correctly, and also getting to a point where the enemies were not that difficult in the first phase, because in the first phase you get the same number of starter deck here, and the starter deck is not that powerful yet. So let's start with making him fragile. And some bolts, stuff like that. Yep, getting that one off should be quite easy as well. And now we are victory is mine. And now let's start. I'll collect a card and I'll collect a scroll. And now I should have in my inventory, I should have this scroll, which is something I added in this most recent version because I came to the realization that this inventory contained cards, artifacts, crafting items, and spellbooks, but it didn't contain scrolls. So that's something I added. And here in the cards inventory, I've got my full starter deck plus the bargain card, which I just obtained. So that means that I can also go to the manage cards right now and choose, for example, to leave out a piercing bolt. There is a minimum of 20, so I can't do that. I can add the bargain card and leave out the piercing bolts. That's it. So I accept that. And now the next time I start a battle, of course, this will also keep track of that. Prepare for battle. So if everything's right, then within a few turns, I would have the new card I just obtained, and I also have this new scroll here above. So let me use that scroll. Regenerate 1 health. I'm not going to use that because I'm at full health right now. So let's do something like that. Gain 8 shield. Discard this one, and then I do that. I should have done this vice versa because now it's fragile. And he's going to cast a spell. Doesn't really matter if I up that shield and I finish the game, finish the turn. He's strong now. My turn. And here it is. Here's the bargain card. So draw 1 card and discard 1 card. I'm going to discard this one here because it can only be fragile once. I'm going to discard, let's say, this one. And then add this one, discard that one. So we're now protected from this 15 attack. Oh, times 2. Yep, okay, didn't watch that. Times 2 because he's strong, so I'm not really fully protected. Let's do that. And well, let's first use this regeneration. Here we are. And now let's kill him off. That's it. And now what we're going to do is, for example, choose the green claw as an artifact, and that means that I would be able to just choose the green claw, add it to the equipped artifacts and accept that. And of course that would be the next time I go into battle, that would be there. So I can collect the city. I'm just going to be on my way. And if I then start the new fight, I should see the green claw artifact equipped. There we are. Here's the green claw artifact. Lightning cards do double damage, which is great because we just received a lightning card. And here, bonus plus 6. Lightning cards do double damage is 12. So we're going to do 12 damage to that werewolf here. So this is great. It's a really nice integration of everything which is being developed separately up until this time, and actually it's been quite a hassle to do that because there were quite some bug fixes in there which only come to the surface, of course, when you start integrating stuff and you constantly see that some things are not saved, some things are done wrongly and stuff like that. So one of the major things that was changed in order to accomplish this is here in the save and load logic, because you'll see that before, in earlier versions of the game actually, the saving and loading logic used to saving and loading logic of construct itself, so meaning that it would save the entire state of the game. But that's kind of tricky because for example, you don't want the user to abuse that, because for example what could happen is that he doesn't really finish off the game and it starts with the most recent load again after just before it dies. He could quit the game and then it just opens really again and stuff like that. So it's really you could abuse that fact, and also it's not that easy to do, for example, character upgrades or if you want to use the going back in time logic, which we were going to implement in a few weeks, this is things that are really hard to do when you use their built-in logic. And that's why I split these things up here in the save and load logic in its entirety, which will separately save the cards, save the inventory, save the state being the values of all of the variables, and save the map data separately. So that means one of the big changes here is that these things are now separated in different functions, where you can see that the map data, for example, it retains the current map point, it contains the map data itself, so which actions are attributed to which map points, and also the cooldown data, because if you go back to a previous point, you should not immediately be challenged again. It should be nothing to see here, and you can just continue there until like a few minutes later, where there is a new challenge being presented there. So this is called the cooldown effect, and it's also stored. So in order to do that, especially here the save state data, I had to remove a lot of variables. So the variables here, we will see here, for example, the health is no longer in here. And also the skill values are no longer in here. So the reason I did that is because then it would be easier to save if I save them into a state data dictionary, actually. And the state data dictionary, what I've done here is I added some static constant strings. So what I do is I add the hero name, the hero avatar, the experience, the coins, the start health. Instead of variables, those are now entries actually in this state data dictionary. I completely refactored that to be able to save that state, that data more easily upon the saving of the state. So now you'll see that these values, get state value, set state value, or increase or decrease state value, are used everywhere in the game. For example, let's give an example. It doesn't really matter. Here, for example, here it's in the sandbox, but it doesn't really matter. Save the state of SV experience to 0. Let's do something else which is not in the sandbox. For example, here when we start a new journey, we set the coins to 0, we set the health, max health to 50, the real health to 50, stuff like that. Those are all things that are saved using these states saving things here. So in fact, a lot of the other things that were done in these versions are a lot of bug fixes. I'm actually combining 3 sets of videos into one single video, because those videos where the bug fixes are done, it's not really interesting for you, I think. So we had a lot of things going on. Integration, within the integration of the map and the menu. So for example, confirmations of abandonment were added. So if you now abandon the journey, you have to confirm, whereas before that there was no confirmation, it just did it. There was a lot of debugging for starting a journey, because not everything was correctly configured there. Also, artifact management, you didn't see the artifacts in use, you only saw the artifacts which are in your inventory, which is a different dictionary actually. So also I made some transitions in the music, for example, because there were music transitioning issues. That's also one of the things I did. And furthermore, there was, for example, the states of the player were not reset every time we exited battle and we got back into a new battle. The states were not removed. For example, it was still poisoned, or he was still on fire, for example. Those are things, of course, you don't see or you don't immediately detect when you're just playing in the sandbox all of the time. But once things are integrated, you start seeing all of the things which are not reset or not initialized correctly and stuff like that. So a lot of things were done here, and we're now in a state of the game where we actually can start doing more integration of more things into the map data. So we can already, what we can already do is battle inside the map data, and I've also created the integration of the character increasing the characters' abilities in the map data. So let's give you a demonstration of that one, and do something again here. Let's not do this, but upgrade character query, for example. And if we now run this one, and I'll deliberately run this in debug mode, then what we can do is abandon this journey and start a new one. And then let's see here, for example, in this state data, you see that we have difficulty 1, Achilles is our name, attack values, etc. So those are the ones that have been stored in our state data, which is saved essentially. And when I click here, you get the option get some training or be on your way. So let's now get some training, and then we get into this interface, which was already created in former videos. You can see videos in the past, you can see how I create this. And here I can just add, for example, I want to add one barter skill here, and I can upgrade. And if everything is okay, I should see here now, see the barter skill value is set to 1. So this is saved immediately here. Also, what we can do here is continue. What I also did is, if I go to a city, the name of this city here is stated, because up until now it was just percentage sign, city percentage sign, like a placeholder for the city name. So the context of the map point of is now the name of the city, which is represented here. So there were also some really pesky bug fixes. Really pesky bug fixes, like, for example, the animation frames of not all animation frames of all enemies are the same. So there is logic in the game that it will reset the executing flag when an animation is played, because, for example, when the animation is played for the creature attacking you, after the creature has attacked, it should start executing in the queue again, but some creatures do a ping pong animation, and then it would activate that animation twice, and then it would be wrong, of course, or the venom was being applied twice and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that are really bug fixed in these different versions, which we're now coming at a place where we're integrated fully with the map into the battle, and we're now starting to add other things like collecting stuff, the shop, etc. So the next big thing will probably be being able to enter a city, which is going to be quite tricky, I think. So keep your eye out for next videos where I try and add those integration of new cities into the game. So that's it. As always, please like, please subscribe, and see you next time.